No one would have believed that in the last years of the 19th century that human affairs were being watched from the timeless worlds of space. No one could have dreamed we were being scrutinized as someone with a microscope studies creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. Few men even considered the possibility of life on other planets, and yet, across the gulf of space, minds immeasurably superior to ours regarded this Earth with envious eyes, and slowly and surely they drew their plans against us. At midnight, on the 12th of August, a huge mass of luminous gas erupted from Mars and sped towards Earth. Across 200 million miles of void, invisibly hurtling towards us, came the first of the missiles that would bring so much calamity to Earth. As I watched, there was another jet of gas. It was another missile starting on his way. And that was how it was for the next 10 nights. A flare spurting out from Mars, bright green, drawing a green mist behind it. A beautiful, but somehow disturbing sight. Ogilvy the astronomer assured me we were in no danger. He was convinced there could be no living thing on that remote, forbidding planet. Then came the night the first missile approached Earth. It was thought to be an ordinary falling star, but the next day there was a huge crater in the middle of the common. Ogilvy came to examine what lay there. A cylinder, 30 yards across, glowing hot, and with the faint sound of movement coming from within. Suddenly, the top began moving, rotating, unscrewing, and Ogilvy feared there was a man inside trying to escape. He rushed to the cylinder, but the intense heat stopped him before he could burn himself on the metal. It seems totally incredible to me now that everyone spent that evening, though it was just like any other. From the railway station came the sound of shunting trains, ringing and rumbling, softened almost into a melody by the distance. It all seemed so safe and tranquil. The next morning, a crowd gathered on the common, hypnotized by the unscrewing of the cylinder. 2 feet of shining screw projected when suddenly the lid fell off. 2 luminous disc-like eyes appeared above the rim. A huge, rounded bulk, larger than a bear, rose up slowly, glistening like wet leather. Its lipless mouth quivered and slavered, and snake-like tentacles writhed as the clumsy body heaved and pulsated. A few young men crept closer to the pit. A tall funnel rose, and then invisible ray of heat leapt from man to man, and there was a bright glare as each was instantly turned to fire. Every tree and bush became a mass of flames at the touch of this savage, unearthly heat ray. People clawed their way off the common, and I ran too. I felt I was being toyed with, that when I was on the very verge of safety, this mysterious death would leap after me and strike me down. At last I reached Maybury Hill, and in the dim coolness of my home, I wrote an account for my newspaper, before I sank into a restless, haunted sleep. I awoke to alien sounds of hammering from the pit, and I hurried to the railway station to buy a paper. Around me, the daily routine of life, working, eating, sleeping, was continuing serenely as it had for countless years. On Horse Hill Common, the Martians continued hammering and stirring, sleepless, indefatigable at the work the machines they were making. Now and again, a light, like a beam of a warship's searchlight, swept the common, and the heat ray was ready to follow. In the afternoon, a company of soldiers came through and deployed along the edge of the common to form a cordon. That evening, there was a violent crash, and I realized with horror that my home was now within range of the Martian's heat ray. At dawn, a falling star with a trail of green mist landed with a flash like summer's lightning. It was the second cylinder.